Mr. Nice Guy or people pleasing as your way of connecting with other people is a topic that comes up all the time in my work here at the Loneliness Guy. Let's have a talk about that for the next few moments. Yuma and welcome to Connection Espresso. I'm Phil McAuliffe, I'm the Loneliness Guy, and this is Espresso 26. This is a mini podcast designed to give your mind, your heart, and your soul a quick connection boost as you, a beautiful gay man experiencing loneliness, go about your day. Let's get to it. Hello and welcome. I reckon that this is some content that is going to serve you if you feel that you are a people pleaser. And for many gay men, that's exactly how we want to do connection with those around us. Glad you're here, as always. As with each Connection Espresso, I want to first pay my respects to the elders of the Ngunnawal people, past, present, and emerging, and acknowledge them as the traditional custodians of the land upon which this episode was recorded and uploaded. I want to extend that acknowledgement to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples listening. Secondly, a reminder that I think you're bloody awesome. Be you listening through a podcast service or joining me on YouTube. I want to recognize the courage you've shown in pressing play on this episode because, well, nobody looks for content on loneliness online unless you recognize that you're feeling lonely. So this is a big step. And I want to say that I see you and I recognize your courage. And if there's one message that I want you to receive from this Connection Espresso, then please make it this. People pleasing or being Mr. Nice Guy absolutely feeds your loneliness. You are a Mr. Nice Guy if you are the type of person who volunteers to drive someone to the airport, even if you've only met that person a few moments ago. You're the first to offer to help someone move house or do their taxes or change their smoke alarm batteries, perhaps even without being asked. And you do this because you grew up to be the living embodiment of the adage we were told or absorbed when we grew up, that the only way to have a friend is to be a friend. And what amazing friends you and the other Mr. Nice Guys are. You're always there when you think you're needed. And you can have evolved into this version of being Mr. Nice Guy, being a people pleaser, when you resolved sometime in your youth to protect yourself from judgment for being different. And you did this by deciding to be the absolutely nicest person who was absolutely friends with everybody. And you decided to avoid conflict at all costs because the conflict risked people calling you out. The conflict risked judgment. And you have the belief that nobody can hate the person who's simply the nicest guy ever, right? Well, that might be so, but in avoiding conflict externally, you're often at war within yourself because no amount of external niceness and pleasantness silences your hateful internal judgment. And while you in Mr. Nice Guy mode can present in a most lovely and appealing way, the truth is that you are a cunning social manipulator. You enter others into unspoken social contracts whereby the other party is somehow bound into being a friend with you based on you being a friend or doing friendly things first. And when you've been in Mr. Nice Guy mode, you're absolutely crushed. You're devastated whenever someone doesn't abide by their part of the social contract. However, because you don't want to avoid, you don't want conflict, you rarely express your disappointment and you choose to suppress it instead. You then resolve to show up in an even more friendly way in the hope or expectation that that connection is reciprocated. This is really tough, isn't it? It's tough to hear. Nobody likes being called a social manipulator. But this is part of me challenging you as a people pleaser, myself as a reforming people pleaser, to have another way of functioning, interacting with other humans around us. And if you are Mr. Nice Guy or a people pleaser, your loneliness often comes to your attention because of the disappointment and the sheer exhaustion you feel from all the effort you've been exerting to show up for others. However, you do not feel that you're worthy of allowing others to show up for you. But there's hope. There's always hope. If you're a people pleaser or a Mr. Nice Guy, your loneliness shifts when you resolve to know your values and create and communicate boundaries and expectations based off your values. However, make no mistake, it takes bravery and courage to do this, because you often resist setting and communicating these boundaries out of fear that you'll be perceived as an asshole if you're anything but eternally friendly and pleasant. There is a middle ground. You're allowed to communicate boundaries. You're allowed to set expectations and communicate those expectations without being an asshole. This content has got to hit some of you in the guts. But I say this, you're absolutely not alone. Being a nice guy, being a people pleaser is an extremely common way we gay men devised to keep us free from judgment, ridicule, and exclusion when we were growing up. But now that you're listening to these words and watching me on YouTube, you know that there are other ways that you can get connection. And those other ways are ways that we work together when we develop the tools and practice new skills as part of the Connection Starter course. And then we make these skills and tools part of your connection plan. Being a people pleaser or a Mr. Nice Guy does not have to be your default mode anymore. And the Connection Starter course and the connection plan you get at the end is now a few taps of the screen away from you when you decide that there's no need for you to be Mr. Nice Guy anymore. And there's a link in the episode description. All you need to do is to tap your screen a few times, and the rest we do together. Remember, I know what it's like to be a gay man experiencing loneliness, because I'm a gay man who experiences loneliness. And I promise you that the raging that you're doing under the facade of pleasantness is not your lot in life. You can engage with the world as the beautiful man you are, with joy and with the connection that you've been searching for. I've been where you are, and I can guide you towards the connection and belonging you've been searching for so long. So let's get you your connection plan to help you move through life in a more content, joyful way. That's it for this espresso. Be sure to check out all my work and services destigmatizing loneliness and promoting authentic connection for gay men globally, for beautiful gay men just like you, through my website, thelonelinessguide.com. Please like, comment, and share this episode so it reaches more gay men experiencing loneliness and lets them know, just as you now know, that they're not alone as a gay man experiencing loneliness. If this episode inspired you, made you think, or otherwise supported you, please tap the link in the show notes to buy me a coffee. Your financial contribution will go directly to growing the Loneliness Guide to reach more gay men. Thank you most sincerely in advance for your generosity and support. Thank you for joining me for this espresso shot. Until next time, take care of yourself, yada, and enjoy your day. Thank you.